Blue-eyed black. A lot of black feels, a lot of black emotion, a lot of black anger. I was walking to work yesterday and I began to realize how 10 years of oppression has led to a sustaining censorship that I've subconsciously placed over myself. In my 20s, I wasn't allowed to be an adult. I wasn't allowed to grow. I wasn't allowed to make mistakes and learn from them. I wasn't allowed to cuss. I wasn't allowed to be proud to be black. I wasn't allowed to speak slang without being made fun of. I wasn't allowed to enjoy fried chicken without getting an eye roll. I wasn't allowed to order full meals at restaurants. I had to split them. I wasn't allowed to like black music unless there was a general consensus that it was good. I wasn't allowed to take pride in enjoying a black artist's talent without being reminded that their accomplishments supersede my pride in them being a black artist and that their accomplishments were things I could never attain because, quote, John Legend wasn't just a singer. He was actually educated, end quote. Remember that? I wasn't allowed to be offended when a friend joked that he owned slaves at one of our album listening parties. I wasn't allowed to confront that dude because, well, insert white-splaining reason here. I wasn't allowed to be offended when I was made to catch the bus to one of our gigs. And the crazy thing is that after that gig, you said, if I were you, I would have never let what we did to you happen to me. I wasn't allowed to be offended when I was almost denied the opportunity to carry an overnight bag after one of our gigs. You thought. So as I was walking to work, I was recording myself talking, and even as I was talking, I was policing my speech in case someone should hear it and find that I don't always say sweet things. I began to cry. Because this is a learned behavior. And I remember the day I started it. Yesterday I cursed him. I cursed at him. And he lives hours away. I cried and I cursed at him because this is so hard to overcome. It's in my speech. It's in the way I make eye contact with other people. It's in my inability to stand up for something that I believe is right at times. I surrendered my will to him. I made him my God. He made me his project. At times I want so badly to forgive him, and I will. Admittedly, although there have been waves when I felt like I was done with this particular part of my life and the pain it caused, my reality is that I have not dealt with it in the proper way. He'd starve me, then feed me. And when he fed me, my brown eyes turned blue. When he laughed at my jokes, my black heart did the same. When he complimented me, which was few and far between, it changed the course of my entire day. Dearest, I've harbored so much hatred inside for you. I've written songs about you. I've written poems. And I even cast a couple of spells. I prayed that my God would show you things. I prayed that you would see that holding a few Kenyan babies for your Instagram account does not make you a savior. I was your slave. I was afraid to cuss. I was afraid to post things on Facebook for fear that you would judge me. I was afraid to dance. I was afraid to sing and to eat and laugh and talk and breathe. Because it always seemed like some type of inconvenience, some celebration of life, some pride that you could never understand. my therapy. If I write it, I can fight it. At least that's the thought that popped into my head just now. I'm reaching the zenith, dear one. When I get there, as I'm getting there, I'm recognizing that I am strong. I don't write this with a spirit of jealousy or a desire for vengeance. I write this in total transparency. The transparent truth, every day I get better. Every day I suffer. The beautiful thing about today is that I finally have a name for you. And naming you will help in dealing with the decay and the callousness. You are not my friend, not even my brother in the colloquial sense. You are my abuser. You are not a monster, but you are my monster. And in my dreams, I've buried you so many times, but in my reality, I carry you around. In 2003, my mother called me while I was at work. She was concerned. She told me that she had a dream that I had 2 pet snakes. I kept the snakes in a cage. I loved the snakes so much that I would insist on keeping them around even though they bit me continuously and even though I cried out in pain. I loved the snakes so much. It really concerned my mother, and she be knowing. So here's to every day getting better, getting clearer, getting stronger, but not dismissing the relapses, learning from them, and determining what my soul is saying. Here's to becoming, right, Michelle? Healing, then becoming, or healing through becoming.